Have you ever heard of hurricanes, typhoons, or tornadoes and wondered what the real difference is between these phenomena? They are all extreme weather events characterized by very violent winds, but they have specific characteristics that distinguish them from each other. In this video, we will explain in detail what they are, how they form, and what the main differences are. To better understand the distinction between hurricanes and typhoons, we must start from their common origin, the tropical cyclone. A tropical cyclone is a large rotating cloud mass that forms over the oceans in tropical and subtropical areas. Its main feature is the low atmospheric pressure, which causes warm and humid air to converge, giving rise to very strong winds and torrential rains. These phenomena form only over warm waters with temperatures above 26 degrees. The energy of the cyclone comes from the heat of the water. The warmer the water, the more the cyclone intensifies. However, not all tropical cyclones become devastating. Depending on their intensity, they are classified into different categories. Tropical depression. This is the initial phase of a cyclone. Winds do not exceed 62 kilometers per hour and usually do not represent a serious danger. In the tropical storm, the winds increase in intensity, reaching speeds between 63 and 118 kilometers per hour. This is the moment when the authorities begin to monitor the phenomenon more carefully. Hurricane or typhoon. When winds exceed 119 kilometers per hour, the tropical cyclone becomes a hurricane or a typhoon, depending on its geographic location. The distinction between a hurricane and a typhoon is purely geographical. If a tropical cyclone forms in the Atlantic Ocean or the northeastern Pacific, it is called a hurricane. If it develops in the northwestern Pacific, it is called a typhoon. If it originates in the Indian Ocean or the South Pacific, it is called a cyclone. From a scientific point of view, there are no significant differences between a hurricane and a typhoon. They are the same phenomenon called differently depending on the region in which it occurs. Hurricanes are classified according to the Saffir-Simpson scale, which divides them into 5 categories based on wind speed. Category 1. Winds are between 119 and 153 kilometers per hour. May cause minor damage to structures and downed trees. Category 2. Winds are between 154 and 177 kilometers per hour. More significant damage occurs to buildings and power lines. Category 3. Winds are between 178 and 208 kilometers per hour. Homes can suffer extensive damage, with roofs blown off and trees uprooted. Category 4. Winds are between 209 and 251 kilometers per hour. Damage is catastrophic, with buildings destroyed and widespread flooding. Category 5. Winds are greater than 252 kilometers per hour. This is an extremely dangerous storm, capable of leveling entire cities. One of the most devastating hurricanes in recorded history was Hurricane Allen in 1980, which reached speeds of 305 kilometers per hour. Tornadoes and hurricanes are often confused, but they are very different phenomena. A tornado is a rotating column of air that extends from a thundercloud to the ground. Unlike hurricanes, which form over the oceans and can last for days, tornadoes form over land and have a very short lifespan, usually a few minutes to an hour. Wind speeds in tornadoes can be extremely high, exceeding 400 kilometers per hour in the most extreme cases. Despite their destructive power, tornadoes have a much smaller impact area than hurricanes. The largest tornado ever recorded had a diameter of about 4 kilometers, while a hurricane can extend for over 1,000 kilometers. Tornadoes originate within particularly violent thunderstorms, known as supercells. When warm and cold air masses meet, strong atmospheric instability is generated, giving rise to a vortex that can transform into a tornado. In the United States, the area most affected by tornadoes is the so-called Tornado Alley, which includes states such as Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. This region is particularly vulnerable because of the encounter between warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico and cold air descending from the Rocky Mountains. Hurricanes and typhoons have a peculiar characteristic, the eye of the cyclone. This is a central area of relative calm, with clear skies and light winds. Around the eye, however, cloud bands develop with the most violent precipitation and winds. If you find yourself in the eye of a hurricane, it might seem like the storm is over, but in reality, the second half of the hurricane could be even more devastating. Tropical cyclones are given names to facilitate their monitoring and are chosen in advance from a list prepared by the World Meteorological Organization. Until the 1970s, only female names were used, but today male and female names are alternated. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much for following us. See you in the next video about catastrophes, disasters, and incredible discoveries.